evening and welcome to ESC. No, don't press the bloody escape key. It's the Extreme Scrutiny Club, where every 2 weeks each of your hosts bring a robot to the table and we vote as a collective on whether it should be immortalised in the arena or should be cast into the Pit of Oblivion. We are your hosts. I'm Mitch.
I'm Reira.
I'm Oliver.
And today's theme is a bit of an interesting one. We have the derpiest designs.
It's gonna be fun. Just the stupidest, weirdest, dumbest looking robots that somehow managed to work, I guess.
I mean, looking at who we've got listed, yeah, all of them very different indeed.
Also, can I just point out that I like making notes for these things. I like researching in advance and watching all the fights and trying to get all the information I can about these robots so I can either praise them to death or rip them to shreds. And before we started this evening, Reira decided to change her robot last minute. So I've had to frantically read through the wiki and scramble around on YouTube to try and get ready for this. But I think I'm there.
I mean, to be honest, it's not much of a wiki article, is it?
This is true.
We're a well prepared bunch at ESC, and we record in batches. So as much as you think we've had 2 weeks to prepare, what we've actually had is yes.
Yes, that's the perfect amount of time. Just yes.
It's my favourite amount of time. So when we get on to myself, we can discuss what I was originally going to bring, because of course we can still bring it up and mention it. But I did change last second, but I believe it was for the correct reason.
Well, I think considering we've had to do research into a new robot because it was very last minute, I think you should go first.
Oh, don't do that to me. All right, okay. Is this how this is going to be? All right, then. I have brought to the table Death Warmed Up. Oh, I could have done a switcheroo back on you and it would have been hilarious. But no, I have brought to the table Death Warmed Up. So, Ollie, if you want to prepare our timer.
The timer is ready.
Let's get them to the arena. Well, this isn't Bugglebots, but you know. So I'm bringing to the table Death Warmed Up from the ever elaborate and brilliant Team Death. Death Warmed Up is I believe it only competed in season 3, which makes it even more fun. Just the one, but Death Warmed Up is absolutely the absolute epitome of stupid, weird, derpy designs. It had exactly one fight in season 3 against Stealth, and I'm pretty sure it just got absolutely massacred. I love Team Death, don't get me wrong. They enter with interesting robots. We won't talk about Piece de Resistance, because let's not talk about Piece de Resistance. Anyone who's a member of Shuntposting will know why we don't bring up that robot. But I genuinely think if you're going to talk about stupid and weird designs, Team Death have to be brought up, because they are the absolute champions of this. Even looking at their slightly more, I say slightly, very, very, very tentatively, slightly more serious designs with things like Immortalis, or was it Metalis?
Metalis, yes.
Yes, Metalis. Metalis was the most serious one they managed to make, but still, it was not exactly serious. So I feel you can't talk about derpy designs without talking about the quintessential derpy designs that are anything Team Death makes. If we're talking about the design of the robot again, let's talk about the fact that did Death Warmed Up even really have a weapon? And I think this might be a first for the show, but I'm bringing this with the intention of initially putting it in the pit. I'm genuinely not here to defend this robot in any way, shape, or form. So according to the wiki as well, it had 2 weapons. Can either of you guess what weapons it had?
I would guess, but I've got the wiki page open as well.
Oh, cheating, Mitch.
You said have the wiki page open. I'm doing what you said.
I mean, I have not seen what these things' weapon is, but I'm going to get it a +10 modifier to the style category in judging.
So its weapons are specifically a pneumatic trident and an electric hedge trimmer.
That's perfect.
Oh, Team Death. Oh, Team Death, with your fantastic weaponry. If I remember rightly, the hedge trimmer was placed in a very suspect place on the dude sitting on a chair design.
I've just realised that. Oh, for God's sake! Oh no!
You know, what a great place to put your
Before we
electric
go
hedge
too
trimmer.
much more into the wonderful thing that is Death Warmed Up, I will start our 10-minute timer because it seems like we've sort of naturally transitioned.
We've
into...
naturally gone into the debate, so let's do this. Yeah, I'm willing to let you guys talk. Let's do this. Talk to me. Talk to me about how Death Warmed Up should ever deserve to go into the arena.
Before I start, I just want to bring in the fact that if somehow Death Warmed Up had managed to beat Stealth, it would have ended up facing Hypnodisc.
Oh my god! What? Oh no! The thing is, I kind of wish that had happened, though. I can't lie. I might. That doesn't deserve a spot in the arena, but oh.
And given how incredible Hypnodisc Series 3 fights are, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want this almost a little bit more than Hypnodisc versus Razor.
Fights we wish could have happened. So, do you either of you have any way you could possibly ever defend this monstrosity?
It did one thing right. It did what the name said. It got warmed up. That's all I've got for it.
I think we've got a bit of a theme this week. What with we have a bit of a fire theme going, and I'm not opposed to it.
Not at all.
But oh dear, oh Death Warmed Up. I can't defend you, and I never intended to defend you. But again, like I said, the point of bringing it to the table was the fact that you can't talk about Derpy Designs without bringing Team Death into this, and that's kind of why I swapped from Ramrombit. Because as much as Ramrombit is, yes, a kind of derpy smash robot on a giant plinth, it's not as derpy as an Immortalis or a Piece de Resistance. And Team Death, you will forever be remembered for making robots that look beautiful, I'm sure, in your eyes. And I hope you're proud of them, because everyone should be proud of their own robots. But please think about something serious.
I mean, to be fair,
would we want it any other way, though?
Yeah.
No, of course not. Of course not. We discussed this last episode about how there is a bit of a category section of robots that aren't serious and robots that are. And I feel like Team Death very happily and content sat in the robots that aren't serious category.
It's what I love about things like, Robot Wars and BattleBots and just generally robot combat is that somehow, with these big televised competitions, it's not all about, the competitive nature and whichever bot is best is the ones that get recognized. It's the crazy and quirky and weird and derpy designs that also get accepted because it's good for TV and we love it. I wouldn't want Robot Wars without Team Death.
At the end of the day, robot combat that is televised or put onto YouTube, in the case of BuggleBots, is intended to entertain. And I can't ever take that away from Team Death, that their robots did exactly that. They entertained. And I mean, robots can entertain and be terrifying and effective, but robots can also be, exactly like this episode is intended to do, ridiculously derpy. I mean, BattleBot should have aired by now, and I'm hoping that we might have seen the, you may have to remind me of its name, but the bowling-themed robot?
Kingpin? Is it
Kingpin?
Kingpin?
There are so many this series. There's Kingpin, there's Ribot, there's Mammoth.
Mammoth is a serious robot.
They
Mammoth
make
is
it so
genuinely serious.
exciting and so silly and over the top with it.
I think Mammoth is another one of the ones that straddles the gap.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, yeah. But to be honest, to give credit to Death Warmed Up, yes, you can say it's a joke entry. Yeah, it's more of a visual department, which, while I'm not a massive fan of Death Warmed Up, I've got to give it credit for the visuals alone. But it had Derek Foxwell's seal of approval, people having fun of their robot building, and he generally liked it. And it also passed the obstacle course. They did well, and that was partly the reason why.
Unlike Piece de Resistance.
Oh, God. Well, they did one thing better than that robot, then.
Resisting the urge to mention Detonator again.
Oh, every episode.
Is this just going to be a recurring theme?
You just have to keep stabbing the dagger in, Oliver.
3
No,
episodes.
it's not a dagger, it's a hammer.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh wow!
Oh.
Can I get an F? Can I get an F in the chat, everybody, please? Can I get an F?
Well, I don't know about an F, but you could definitely get some fire on the robot as well.
So I kind of want to get onto your two's robots now that we've realised we've got a fire theme, because as much as Death Warmed Up got set on fire, I don't think any of the other Team Death options did, and we've accidentally built a fire episode too, so I'd like to do that.
We need to decide finally what we want to do.
Oh, yes,
with
sorry.
Death Warmed Up.
I think Death should cool back down in the Pit of Oblivion and rest in peace like the wonderful robot that it is, and get down there with the robots that it deserves to be with.
Ow.
So Pit of Oblivion from me. Pit of Oblivion, firmly.
And Mitch?
Yeah, I have to agree, I'm afraid. It's got visuals, but that's about it.
I mean, it fits the category of derpy design wonderfully, but that's not what puts it into the pit or puts it into the arena at the end of the day, is it?
Fortunately not. I mean, thing is, if you judge it by the standards that I'm presuming Death Warmed Up was created under, you know, to be a crazy design to entertain, then it absolutely fulfilled that role. But this is the Extreme Scrutiny Club. We've got to put these robots under the microscope and really decide what we want to do with them. And I think, yeah, this signed to the pit.
It's another 3-0 loss for me, but for once I'm happy with that because that was the intention from the get-go.
I think on a format note, if you bring a robot intending for it to go into the pit and arguing for it to go into the pit, that's a 3-0 win.
I will take that, and I will keep that, and you can't take that back now that you've said it.
Right.
I don't, and I think that's how it should be going forward.
Yeah, no, there we go. All right, then I win. How did that happen? Can we do Mitch next, please? Because I'm dying to talk about Mitch's entry.
The Towering Inferno. I mean, yeah, that first.
Oh, spoilers.
Oh, we spoiled it at the end of last week.
I know, but...
Go on then, Oliver. Do your Towering Inferno, because I've got stuff to say about that too, because of course I do. And we finally get to discuss BattleBots as well, so I'm excited for that.
I mean, yeah, this is not a purely a Robot Wars show. We can bring any robot from any show that we like, and while researching Derpy Designs, I stumbled somehow across Towering Inferno. I believe I just caught the fight with Mechavore, and I immediately knew that I had to.
That's not the fight that I watched in preparation for this, so do you have your timer ready?
I do, yes.
Okay. State your case for your towering, terrifying Inferno.
Well, I think this thing is incredible, and I would love to see it in the arena. A kind of a cross between BattleBots' Dissector and Robot Wars' Gabriel. From Jason Bartis, the creator of the wonderful and beautiful and incredibly derpy Dr. Inferno Jr. And I just love the design of this thing. It's got a sort of chassis that rotates and allows the axes to fling. Because unlike Gabriel, it's not really a thwackbot. The axes do sort of independently, but the chassis also is articulated to stop. Very, very well thought out. And as I said at the end of last episode, that all the fights for this thing are available on YouTube. The Team Inferno Labs have uploaded them,
which was very handy for us to do our research.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we'd only have the Mechavore fight.
Because I'm able to say this now, I watched the fight with a robot that I actually recognised. I watched it fight a Ripkin. The Ripkin fight is amazing.
Yes.
Please continue. I'm entering your time zone.
It's all right. Yeah, it doesn't quite have the same resilience in the wheels as something like the huge and Gabriel, but it's the origins of that design, the sort of high and difficult to grapple and difficult to control designs, and it just flails around madly.
I'm glad that you brought up Huge, because a lot of my argument back at you involves Huge, so look forward to that.
But it's that sort of idea of having a sort of unpinnable, unflippable robot designed to sort of rain down hit after hit from above.
Rain down the pain.
I love it. Yes, indeed, rain down the pain. And that seems to be everything that I've got to give in my sort of opening statement. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think about this, because as UK dwellers, as Robot Wars fans, I don't know if you will have had too much exposure to this one before. What do you think?
I mean, to put my point in perspective, I am a classic BattleBots fan to a degree as well. I do love my BattleBots. But can I just for one moment say that watching the fight with Ripkin, I again, in secret, watching fights with Mitchell away from you, can you remember what it was I said, Mitchell? What I compared it to?
You compared it to Huge, didn't you?
If Huge mated with a wacky, wavy, inflatable arm tube man,
Oh yeah, that was it.
you would get the amazing bot power, I'm gonna slap you a bit with me axes that the Ripkin fight genuinely looked like. But when we're talking Derpy Designs, I can't give it credit for being derpy, because I genuinely love the design of Towering Inferno. I really like the fact that any robot like Huge, like Gabriel, and even at lower weight classes, any robot that tries to do the same, so the one that instantly comes to mind is Dr. Thwackenstein from Bugglebots, any robot that does that sort of I'm too big for you to hit is doing the right thing, because that is such a successful design choice. It's worked wonders for Gabriel, it's worked wonders for Huge. Sadly, it didn't do wonders for Thwackenstein, but there was reasonings for that behind that. Mostly bad luck and some design choices that I believe Sophie has since overhauled. I genuinely think that design is something that needs to be tapped on more. And I really hope that something like Towering Inferno can come back to the arena soon. Having just Huge at the moment, and if you're a fan of your live events, you can still see Gabriel. But on our TV screens, the only one still doing that is Huge. And I genuinely would love to see another robot take on that mantle of look at me big wheels and try and hit me now.
I agree. Like, I haven't had much experience Towering Inferno. Classic BattleBots for me, I've watched thanks to Mr. Psycho. Another shout out to him. I think I referenced him last episode as well.
Not like we're trying to get you on the show at all.
Hi Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Hi Mike, come join our show. Come be a guest.
I'll be honest, like, when I first read you put Towering Inferno down, I was like, oh, okay, I vaguely remember this. And saw the images, I was like, oh god, it's this thing. Oh, for God's sake. Watch the fights. Actually, this is really bloody good.
It's fun to watch, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
It's a lot like what Ray says in the fact, it's different. It's I called it prehistoric Huge, just without the spinner. It has like the axe arms instead. And I've looked on a wiki as well. Apparently, Towering Inferno was meant to be unpinnable, unflippable, and designed to hammer down on the wide and slow manipulative robots. So it was designed to tackle previous champions and previous robots that did well. So it's really weird, because in that kind of essence, it reminds me of Stinger from Robot Wars, but at the same time, it's very different.
Yeah, no, that's a good call.
And it makes me think, like, kind of a tangent now. Can you imagine Stinger, but like Huge or Towering Inferno?
Oh.
Is that not just Gabriel?
Kind of.
Not.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have been the push that classic Stinger needed to really sort of get back into the limelight.
I mean, Stinger has since made its way back onto the live scene. It is currently active on the live scene, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I guess in response, I don't necessarily think that because a design is effective and is designed to be effective, that it can't also be derpy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a very out there design that nobody was doing, and it's just crazy. Barrel around the arena and raining down hits from above, and I love it. It's just such an entertaining machine, and I absolutely think it deserves a spot in the arena.
I couldn't agree more. I genuinely think that Towering Inferno, despite coming along as a derpy design, has really just awakened me to the fact that robots really do be like that sometimes. To be the meme queen that I am, sometimes robots do be like that and can be hella derpy looking, but really entertaining to watch. Another robot to hit the Bugglebot streak again for obvious reasons that it sort of brings to mind is something like Shark's Atrakian. that, looks ridiculous, but having been at Bugglebots myself, and without giving any spoilers, I can confirm it's a very entertaining robot to watch. And I think that genuinely is something that can be a thing. And again, we've come back to this. We've gone full circle yet again and come across this topic of, can a robot be serious but also kind of wacky? And I genuinely think Towering Inferno is exactly that. I think Towering Inferno is really wacky in design, but very effective.
Yeah.
I'm happy to vote. I'm happy to send this thing to the arena where it deserves to be.
Well, yeah, I have to agree. I think it deserves a spot in the arena. Absolutely, it's different, effective, kind of, and it's got a place in my heart. It didn't have it before, but it's very quickly just appeared and gone. Hello, I'm staying here now. Okay, I'm not complaining. So yeah, to the arena for me.
And I'm assuming, Oliver, you're giving yourself a 3-0 win by agreeing to send it to the arena too.
This is 3-0 for 3-0 wins for me. Yes,
Stop doing that.
Oh, all right. Okay, right.
I will also send this thing to the arena. I love it.
We're also 2-0 for 3-0s this episode, and who knows? Maybe our final choice, which I am itching to talk about, can also go 3-0. So, if we want to move across to you, Mitch.
Yeah, right. So, just to introduce, I'm going to be talking about probably one of the most famous, derpiest robots of all time in Robot Wars. It's Detour.
Okay, your timer is ready, Oliver?
Yes, it is. It starts now.
Well, come on. Where do we begin with Detour? It's polka dot covered. It's our lovable fur brain. I've never met someone who doesn't really not like Detour. It ingrains itself in your mind. It's polka dot fever. I picked Detour because I saw Ray picked Ram Rumbit. Of course, it's now Death Warmed Up and Towering Inferno. I was like,
I'm sorry.
It still works because Death Warmed Up, fire themed, and I was like, fire.
And it also got set on fire.
Yeah, and this is a robot that's been set on fire. It's derpy. Oh my god, we've got a theme within a theme. Okay, I'm going to pick Detour. And it kind of tickles the pickle in the essence of...
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know if that's the right term or not, actually.
What? It does what? Look, whatever robots do to your pickle in the comfort of your own home is no business for me.
Oh.
I can't even think of it that way.
Did you want to continue your point, seeing as you're within your time limit still?
That's right, you've got plenty of time.
I apologise for laughing at the stupid... We're not debating stupidest colloquialism.
It's like
here.
whatever floats your boat, whatever tickles
Tickles your pickle? Really?
I must admit, that's a new
I'm gonna make it very clear. I'm gonna make it very clear to our audience that as the female representative of this podcast, I would just like to apologise that we have decided that the correct term for this is tickling a pickle.
Right. Sorry. Where were we?
Where were we indeed?
Don't go back to that. I can't take anymore. We're talking about the fire theme. Yeah, I can't remember anything about that. But Detour, essentially, I feel it's more of a derpy design done for fun, but it has jokey weaponry which can work. Like, if you look at it in Series 3, it had the spring-loaded ram, which I don't know if it was retractable or not. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure the first one wasn't retractable. It just fired once and then, okay, I'm in the air now. I may as well just poke things. But if it got the hit on, it was effective. And if it was against a robot that couldn't turn itself over, well, that was it.
It had done some successful fights with the flipper as well. It genuinely had. And let's not forget how defensive the scoop was as well, to give you a good point.
Going into Series 5 and Extreme, the scoop, I think, was better for it. I can't remember if it could self-right with the scoop, but...
No.
Oh,
okay.
No.
See,
it tried to add stuff to it.
Born Again.
Oh, god damn it.
Oh, God, that fight. Yeah.
We're going there.
You speak of Series 5, where it beat Tornado by sheer luck because Tornado broke down, and that was Detour's like crowning moment in my opinion. That was its biggest win. And yeah, okay, it got set on fire. Yeah, other robots beat the hell out of it. Yeah, it ended up on
It
fire
got
most
set
of the
on
time.
fire by choice. Let's not forget.
Yeah, it did that to entertain the audience. It was our lovable furry fur brain, whatever, that thing. I'm not really a fan of it in Extreme 2 and definitely not Series 10 because it was basically just, here we've got, I think it's Cadena Machina, and we'll just put fur on it. It's Detour, yes!
That was a shame. That was a shame.
It definitely was.
I will always accredit it as a Detour, so...
I'd love to have seen the Iron Ore 7 version make its way into...
oh yeah, because they did intend to do that, didn't they?
They've done it for Fight My Bots, I think, in China. The one that Endgame team won with not Endgame, but basically Endgame.
You're kidding, right?
Yeah, they lost to Team Endgame.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've entered it at least once, if not twice. And it was due to appear at the Robo Riot Irish event that they're planning to hold in the autumn.
That's the one thing that it's turning into the debate already. The one thing I have to give the Detour team is the fact that their community spirit is not just in their robots, it's in what they do since. And the fact that they run Robo Riot and keep it going and run those events for Ireland, which I'm very aware does not have the luxury of lots of robotic events. It's fantastic. And genuinely, Detour, you can't fault the robot. It was exactly what Robot Wars needed, and it's iconic to the point that people who don't watch Robot Wars will know Detour.
Yeah,
it deservedly won 2 sportsmanship awards.
Absolutely.
And Peter Redmond is an absolutely wonderful friend as well. Like, he's just a bloody lovely guy. I've only interacted with him once, but again, Peter Redmond is... you couldn't wish for a nicer person to be running such a lovely robot.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mitch, we've kind of sort of
impeded
on your little picture. You still have time left.
I did mention that we'd sort of gone into debate time by accident.
How dare
Have anything more to say about Detour before we swing into a full debate?
Yes.
Before we push this thing into maximum debato drive.
Get out. The only other thing I can say is it was derpy, but it had really bad luck behind the scenes with trying to get itself built for Series 3 and Series 4. Apparently, its weapon in Series 3 looked like a shotgun barrel. And then of Series 4, of course, it entered the arena, it was half built and couldn't self-right. Which is a shame, because I really would have loved to see Series 4 Detour.
In one of the series, didn't they have some parts go missing during travels?
I don't know, actually.
I specifically remember that being the Detour team losing, I believe it may have been batteries or ESCs, plug the show, in transport to the event. And that was one of the bigger issues.
That sounds right.
As someone who intends to travel for some future robot events and has to travel quite far for Beetleweight tournaments herself, I can really relate to the fact that if you lose something in transport, that's really hard luck. But again, the heart of Detour is what makes it such an amazing robot. And I feel that we all have to agree on a point that Robot Wars wouldn't be Robot Wars without Detour.
I agree. But yeah, I think I'm done. The floor is yours, and I will debate with you if needed.
Any points you want to make, Oliver? Because I kind of accidentally made mine in Mitchell's time, so...
That's all right. It is such an robot in how entertaining it was, and the attitude that the Detour team took just never failed to put a smile on anyone's face. The production teams, the audience, the other Roboteers, and everyone down through the generations that have watched Robot Wars. Detour, you've got to.
There's nothing quite like seeing robots like Razor and Mortis sat alongside a red and black goofy looking face thing with questionable weaponry in every form it had, apart from maybe the let's just slap some fur on Cadena Machina version. Let's be honest, it just wouldn't be the same though.
Yeah, like I say, one of the things I think is underappreciated about Detour's design is the fact that the early weaponry it had, the Series 3, Series 4 weaponry, kind of similar to later successful robots like Bigger Brother and Dantom Kia, it actually did pretty well, especially in its Series 3 run. And I don't think that's given nearly enough credit. Yeah, the scoop was far more defensive, but the sort of lifting arm that it had on the original version was fairly effective at getting underneath opponents.
Mm.
Not to mention the fact that even early robots that had lifting arms looked good next to Detour as well. To mention the one that really comes to mind, although it was the exact opposite direction, Cassius.
Indeed.
And I think a lifting arm or flipping arm, or in the case of Cassius, as I believe, may he rest in peace, Rex Garrett called it a ram. It's a good weapon. But again, in every form Detour has taken, the weapon's never really been the forefront of what we've been there to watch. It really is it.
No, I think it's just been, right, when's this one going on fire then?
Yes, absolutely. Even in their victories, they have set themselves on fire. And honestly, I don't really have much else to say other than the fact I genuinely think that we couldn't put Detour into the pit. We couldn't do that to him.
I certainly agree. I am with you there 100%. I mean, this thing was so entertaining in every appearance. The one bit that always sticks in my mind is, I believe it's Extreme 1 or Series 5, where Dr. Zulu is talking about the new springs that they have, and he says that they're ex-NASA, which always makes me chuckle.
Oh, yes. Oh, it is extreme. It is extreme when he says that they're ex-NASA springs and he can't tell them why he got them.
It reminds me of something out of Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, very much so. And again, we can't fault Detour.
It's got to be Arena for me.
Into the Arena for me. So unless you've decided to change your mind, Mitch.
Right, that's it. I'm doing what I did for Warhog. It's going to be 2. No, it's not. Yeah, I've got to put it in Arena. I love Detour too much.
That's a 3-0 for 3-0s. Apart, well, an 0-3 for me, but it counts as a 3-0 because I always intended it to be. That is a first for us, and genuinely, I think that is quite an exciting set of results.
Lovely way to end off the episode.
Mitch, did you want to recap for us?
Yes, of course. So we started off this episode with Death Warmed Up, who got sent right back down to the Pit of Oblivion, 0-3. Towering Inferno went 3-0, and Detour, lovable fur brain that it is, went 3-0 as well.
So to close up the episode for everyone, just to remember to subscribe. Catch us again in another 2 weeks when we'll be talking about Bugglebots Season 1, which is quite exciting for me as technically a competitor on Bugglebots Season 2, Team Zanbots being the weapons operator. And what with myself and Oliver's experience in building beetle weights, it's going to be quite an exciting experience to talk about Bugglebots Season 1, especially as Bugglebots has really opened up such a fantastic new experience and such a fantastic new push for roboteering in the UK. And yeah, that brings us to the end of the episode. So again, if you could like and subscribe and to do all the awful YouTubey stuff, but also something that I want to bring into this towards the end is where can you find each of us online? So with myself, Team Roll Initiative Robotics on both Instagram and Facebook, and you can find us on both, on Instagram under Roll Initiative Robotics and on Facebook under Team Roll Initiative Robotics. You can also find myself on Instagram under Reira the Bard, and of course you'll see me about in Shuntposting as a mod.
So we're doing social media. I also run the ESC Facebook page, and we will be putting all kinds of updates about recording and the like on there. But for myself personally, I am team captain of Team Motte and Bailey, the Beetleweight, Antweight, and Robot Arena 2 building team. And you can find us on Facebook. But that's goodbye from me, Mitch.
Well, I'm not as social as these other people. You'll find me at the Orc Corp on YouTube, where I post Orcs Wars or any other videos. That's about it, so that's goodbye from me.
And again, you can find us all about on Robot Wars Shuntposting because it's kind of our second home. And that's goodbye from all three of us, and we will see you again next time.
Bye.